It's time. Without further ado, here is my head-to-head product comparison video of the beeswax based seasoning waxes, Buzzywaxx vs Baliiva. Now that's cast iron cooking. Now let me start by saying this. When these products arrived, I thought I knew what I was in for. But boy was I wrong. More on that in a minute, but first let me start off by explaining the parameters of the head-to-head. I had three products facing off against one another. Buzzywaxx Original Blend, Buzzywaxx Green Blend, and Baliiva Non-Stick. The Baliiva is a blend of coconut oil, soybean oil, and beeswax, while the Buzzywaxx Green is organic non-GMO sunflower oil, organic non-GMO extra virgin olive oil, and local Northern Carolina beeswax, with the original being the same beeswax just with canola and grapeseed oil. These three products were all paired with a skillet that was completely stripped to the bare metal, and each skillet was covered with its corresponding seasoning wax, with a cut-up piece of old cotton t-shirt to avoid lint. All of the skillets were seasoned and baked together, alternating positions in the oven. Lastly, because all three products recommended using a base of 3 layers of seasoning, I seasoned all skillets 3 times with their corresponding seasonings prior to starting any of the tests. The first piece of the head-to-head battle was in the arena of packaging and usability. Both the Buzzywaxx seasonings arrived in separate aluminum tins, while the Baliiva came in wax paper sealed in plastic and then placed inside a nice branded Ziploc package. My initial reaction was that the tins that the Buzzywaxx came in were more professional and would be much easier to store, and for all intents and purposes I was right, but what I didn't foresee was how easy it would be to use the Baliiva. Being able to handle the puck outside of the packaging made it easier to control the amount of seasoning I was applying. While I think ultimately both had their pros and cons in this arena, the storability of the Buzzywaxx did put it out ahead by a hair. Next we went into the egg flip test. At the base suggested starting point of 3 layers, all 3 failed miserably to separate the egg, even when given a generous supply of cooking oil. I got the same results after coats 4 and 5, though I did notice the Baliiva was noticeably easier to clean up than the others after coat 5. At coat 6 we reached our desired outcome. The first egg cooked after coat 6 was on the 10-inch lodge coated with the original Buzzywaxx, and boy did we get her to flip. In fact, after much anticipation, I wound up being a little overzealous with the flip and landing what I'm affectionately referring to a double back sunny side flip. Next up would be the Buzzywaxx Green Blend, which sadly after 6 coats still struggled to release the egg enough to even get a clean flip with a spatula. After that, the Baliiva was up, and it followed suit after the Buzzywaxx Original Blend, and we were able to flip an egg with little to no effort. In this arena, unfortunately, after 8 coats, we still have yet to get a solid flip on the Buzzywaxx Green Blend, and therefore have to say it didn't even compete. But we give full awards to both Buzzywaxx Original Blend and the Baliiva Non-Stick. Next, we took good note of the toughness of the seasoning, going at the egg flips with metal spatulas. It's important to mention that we never intentionally gouged the cookware and just attempted to imitate ordinary cooking. The Buzzywaxx Original and the Buzzywaxx Green Blends took little to no damage, while the Baliiva unfortunately did. Though any scratching on the Baliiva was minimal at best, Buzzywaxx edges out again by just a nose. The final arena we tested these seasonings on was the intangibles, the things we couldn't really measure but that were important. See, both brands outsource their beeswax and oils responsibly, and both brands have close and meaningful relationships with their bee farmers. Buzzywaxx is produced in the United States and Baliiva is produced in India. That sort of thing doesn't really matter to me, but I recognize that it may to some. So while it has no bearing here with my score, I want you to be able to adjust your scoring if that matters to you. The one place that set our overall winner far ahead of the competition was the one thing I expected least. The overall winner is the Buzzywaxx Original Blend, and the major place where it stands out is the smell. When you open a can of Buzzywaxx, you are intensely hit with the rich smell of locally grown organic honey. I had to ask 3 people what they thought to make sure I wasn't crazy, and all 3 responded the same way. The smell of this stuff makes me want to get my hands dirty using it. It makes me want to cover my knife handles and wooden spatulas with it. And honestly, it makes me want to talk about it. Everything else is icing on the cake for me. The stuff that put Buzzywaxx Original on the top is how much I simply want to use it. Baliiva comes in second, and frankly, I was surprised. This stuff held up nearly blow for blow against Buzzywaxx Original. If an enthusiast came to me to argue Baliiva over Buzzywaxx, I could totally see their point. I have no problem endorsing both of these products to anyone looking to take their cast iron seasonings seriously. Just a note on the green blend. I'm actually reaching out to Buzzywaxx right now to see if I can get another can of the green blend in case something went wrong with mine. The results varied so dramatically that I am fully willing to admit it could have possibly been either a bad batch or user error on my part, though it's not immediately clear what I could have done differently. If you've made it this far in the video, I just want to say thank you for watching, and a huge shout out to both Buzzywaxx and Baliiva for supporting small content creators like me. This type of content helps us out as much as it helps them out, so go ahead and grab that subscribe button if you're on YouTube, hit that follow button if you're on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. Comment with any questions you may have, and please share this with the rest of your cast iron community. For all things cast iron, I'm Cast Iron Mo. Thanks for watching.